Hello vinyl community, Mike from Mike Guitar Player 07 here, coming at you live with another vinyl record video. And I had talked about how I had gotten a collection of cassettes recently, so I thought I'd talk about that. Now this is take 2 of this video. My phone crapped out the first time for whatever reason, so I'm trying this again. So, first I got the Do-Up box set, which is one I've been wanting for a while. They had like 3 or 4 volumes of this, but the first one is the one that most people know. I did the CD version of this. However, I'm more than happy to have the cassette version. I'm finally able to hear it, which is great. It sounds fantastic. All these cassettes are in nearly perfect condition. Comes with this very nice booklet, which has history on the songs, bands, has nice photographs and all that, and a track listing, and has 4 volumes in there. Okay, that was a bad idea. Okay, I will show them one by one now, because that did not work the way I planned. So, Volume 1 is The Birth of Doo-Wop, which is 1948 until 1955. Volume 2 was The Rock and Roll Explosion, which was 1955 through 1957. Volume 3 is The Doo-Wop's Golden Age, 1957 to 59. And the Doo-Wop Revival from 1959 to 1987. Yes, believe it or not, in 1987 they had Doo-Wop back in the day. Now you'll notice I'm in a different location than I usually am. But it's not too different than what you've seen before, because my records are right there. And I'm just a little bit over where the books are, because I had this unit that is currently has all the shelves out of it, except for one of them, for cassettes, because I figured I got a whole collection of cassettes. Might as well put this cassette unit to use, because I never had before. I have a bunch of cassettes in some boxes, like cassette boxes over there, but finally get to use this. So, that's my one and only cassette box set that I own, and I'm very much so looking forward to getting the CD version. One of my local record stores has one for a very good price, in very good condition. I just passed it up twice. I'm hoping that the third time I go, it's there. So, let's go through these cassettes that I have in this collection. There's a few that are in my room that are either doubles or ones that are warped and don't play. So after I go through the ones that are here, I will go upstairs and I will show you the rest of them. But the first cassette here is My Home is in Alabama by Alabama. This had the hit songs on it, Why Lady Why and Tennessee River, which are both fantastic tunes. We got Alabama's Mountain Music, which had the hit Mountain Music. However, the song Gonna Have a Party was a very good tune on here as well, which was the final closing track of the album. This is an Alabama album, not too familiar with. This is Cheap Seats, but it's a fantastic record. I do not know what hits were on this one, but I really enjoyed the listen. We got not Alan Jackson. We got Alabama's Greatest Hits Volume 3, which obviously has a bunch of their greatest hits. Some of my favorite tunes from this greatest hits collection would be, if you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band, which is one of my favorite Alabama tunes. And another one of my favorite Alabama tunes is I'm in a Hurry and Don't Know Why, which are 2 fantastic tunes on top of every tune off this album. I've really never heard a bad Alabama tune. I love all Alabama songs. So then this is Alabama's album in Pictures, which was also a very nice listen. We got Alan Jackson's Greatest Hits collection, which is fantastic. My grandfather had this on CD, so I am very familiar with this. I love every song on this. Alan Jackson is one of my favorite 90s country musicians. If you're not familiar with who Alan Jackson is, check out the songs Chattahoochee, Gone Country, Don't Rock the Jukebox, Live on Love, I Don't Even Know Your Name, which is a really, really funny song. So those are some Alan Jackson tunes for you. This is my very first Alison Krauss cassette. This is Now That I Found You, a collection, which is fantastic. Loved every moment of that. We got Barry Manilow Live. Hit or miss for me, Barry Manilow. It wasn't a bad album. Not one I'm going to listen to regularly, though. We got the Beach Boys Concert Days, which is some live performances that the Beach Boys did. We have the Beach Boys Kokomo single from the movie Cocktail, with the B-side being Tutti Frutti. That's a movie I need to see. I used to own the full soundtrack on vinyl record and sold it for some jazz albums, because I didn't really listen to the soundtrack much and I didn't really know the movie because I've never seen it. But If I ever see the soundtrack again, I'll pick it up. It was a good soundtrack. I just wish I knew the movie to go along with it. The next one is the Bellamy Brothers' Greatest Hits. This is a fantastic group. I was introduced to them from my grandfather's record collection. One of their biggest hits is If I Said You Had a Beautiful Body, Would You Hold It Against Me? Which is a beautiful song, fantastic tune. Then we got a 90s country group, Black Hawk. This is their self-titled. I assume this is their debut. Never heard of them until this cassette, but I really enjoyed them. The next drawer, we got Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. Who doesn't know this album? I'm actually in the process of learning the song Backstreets on piano as we speak. We got Bruce Springsteen's Darkness on the Edge of Town. Fantastic album. You'll notice that the cassette album cover doesn't have the words of the title of the album and all that, like the vinyl record and CD version. Don't really know why they did that, but it was good. I mean, that's one of my favorite Springsteen albums. Bruce Springsteen's Human Touch. This is an album I had not heard by him before. Heard of it, but didn't hear it. I really enjoyed this. It was a good one. I look forward to playing this one again. It's not... A lot of Bruce Springsteen is overplayed for me at this point, so this was kind of refreshing for me, actually. So I really liked that. Then one we all know, the greatest hits of the Cars. Fantastic. I mean, it's the Cars. You can't go wrong. We got volumes 1 of Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and we got volume 2, which is more Dirty Dancing, music from the movie. I believe I've seen bits and pieces of that movie, but sadly not the entire thing. This was one that I was very excited to find. This is the Drifters' Golden Hits. And Tunes from the Man Cave, Chris always talks about this album from boating with his family back in the day when he was younger and all that stuff. And I enjoy the Drifters because I've got to be introduced to the Drifters. How was I introduced to the Drifters? I don't remember. I remember knowing Benny King, Stand By Me. And I guess I learned a few other songs through that, and then I found Save the Last Dance for Me. And then some 50s and 60s comp albums, I've heard some of the songs. So my grandfather had some 45s of them. So I was really excited to have that, and very good. Learned some Drifters and stuff that I didn't know, and I was very happy to. Another classic album, we got Duran Duran's Rio. So now I have this on vinyl record and on cassette. This was one that I've heard good things about, but never had listened to or never went out of my way to find until I got this collection. This is Dwight Yoakam's album, It's Time. Fantastic album. I believe this was one of his early 2000s albums. It doesn't say a year. No, it doesn't have a year on it. I believe this is early 2000s, late 90s. This one's cool. It comes on a blue cassette. On reprise or reprise. People say it differently. So there's that. Very good album. We got Eddie Money's The Sound of Money. Just a greatest hits comp. This is something my parents had on CD, so I've heard this before, but of course we all know things like 2 Tickets to Paradise and all that. Fantastic stuff. This is one that I've heard of but never listened to or went out of my way to grab. This is Elton John's Live in Australia with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. And this is a 2-album... On vinyl record, it was 2 albums, and then it was put onto 1 cassette as this bubble. I don't know if you can read that, but that's saying. I was very impressed with this. I've never really heard of a lot of Elton John live stuff, so I really enjoyed this. It was very good. He played a lot of his hits and a couple deeper cuts on that one. We got Elton John's Greatest Hits Volume 3, 1979 through 1987, so of course that has his 80s works. I guess that's why they call it the blues. Sad Songs Say So Much. I'm Still Standing, which is one of my favorite 80s Elton John tunes. Too Low for Zero. Blue Eyes, Kiss the Bride. All great. I've really never heard a bad Elton John tune, I must say. Next drawer. We got Elvis Presley's Top 10 Hits. I really enjoyed this. This was a fantastic Elvis Presley compilation. I have like the Golden Hits, 20,000 Fans, Can't Be Wrong, like all those that came out back in the... I want to say the first one came out in the 60s and through the 80s and all that. But yeah, this has all those songs and a little bit more that are on those compilations. This is pretty much an all-encompassing, and I really enjoyed every moment. But also, we all know how much I love Elvis Presley. This is an album by a gentleman named Falco, and it's called Einzelhaft. I believe I'm saying that right. This had to hit Der Kommissar. I don't know if that's being pronounced right, but this was a fun album. It's not in English at all. I believe it's in German, based on what I know a little bit of German and how the language is. So I believe this guy is German or Austrian, somewhere around there. I need to look him up. Don't really know, but I really enjoyed that album. It was good. This is an album by the Fine Young Cannibals, The Raw and the Cooked. This has She Drives Me Crazy, right? Yeah, She Drives Me Crazy. That was a big hit off this one. So, great album. Had that one on CD. Glad to have it on cassette. Now, this one comes with a little bit of a story. This is the original 1980 Broadway cast recording of 42nd Street. I've never owned a Broadway soundtrack on cassette until now, and I am very ecstatic to do so. Wish I had this on CD or vinyl record, but I do not. So the lady I got this collection from is a family friend, so I got all this for free, thankfully. I was very blessed in that regard. So she had 3 copies of this album. She had 1 on vinyl record and 2 on cassette. And she said she saw this when it came out. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. She said she got to see it with her mother when her mother was still alive. And I thought that was really cool. So I got her mother's album or copy of this, and it's in very good condition. I'm treasuring it. I love the soundtrack. It's fantastic. It's some of that classic Broadway that you just don't get today. Don't get me wrong, I like modern Broadway stuff too, but it's not the same. This had the We're in the Money, and We're in the Money was the main song off this one. But yeah, I look forward to finding this on vinyl record and CD one day. The original Broadway cast. They did a revival cast, I believe, in 2001, but it's not the same. We got a little bit of jazz in this one. Gato Barbieri. I don't know how. I'm screwing up that name royally. But this is his album, Caliente. This was very good on A&M Records, 1976. I really liked it. This was another one I was really excited for. Genesis Invisible Touch. This is the first time I've heard this album in its entirety. I've heard the hits off this, which is all of side 1. Just for example, Invisible Touch, Tonight, 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 Land of Confusion, and In Too Deep. That's what side 1 is. All hits, all killer. B-side is all killer too. I almost played this back-to-back multiple times, but I wanted to listen to the other cassettes I had gotten because, as you'll see, I got a whole bunch of them, and we're only on letter G. So, but I can't wait to spin this. I can't wait to spin 42nd Street again. A lot of these, really. But I might pull 42nd Street and Genesis out to play again, maybe tonight even. All right, this one is one that surprised me. I didn't have high hopes for this one, even though I know this is a very popular and acclaimed album. George Michael's Faith. This individual also gave me this album on CD as well. My mom owned the CD, so I really didn't need a CD, but that's okay. I'm not a big Wham and George Michael fan. I appreciate him and what he does, but it never really does a whole lot for me. I shocked my mom with that one when I told her. She's like, I love that. That was one of my most played CDs. And I was like, well, it's not for everyone. But anyway, so obviously I knew the song Faith. I knew the song I Want Your Sex. But I believe those were the only 2 I knew off this album. I might have known Father Figure, because that one, the name of that is sounding familiar too. Knowing what I know of Wham and the stuff I've heard by George Michael, I didn't expect much, but I was very pleasantly surprised with that, so I really liked that. And looking forward to listening to the CD version, because I haven't listened to the CD I was given of this yet. This is another cassette single. This is George Strait's I Just Want to Dance With You, which is a fantastic tune, and the B-side is One Step at a Time. This is from his this is from his album One Step at a Time, and the B-side is Neon Row. My mistake. Flip the 2. So there's that, George Strait, one of my favorite country musicians out there. This is Glenn Miller Orchestra. This is a compilation that GRP put out called In the Digital Mood. I guess just remastered versions of it. I love the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Some of my favorite big band music was done by Glenn Miller. And very nice to have. Very great. Has all the hits, like, I'll talk about it a little bit. It had In the Mood, which is a very well-known one. Everybody who's watching has at least heard that, I'm sure. Chattanooga Choo Choo is popular, Little Brown Jug. Tuxedo Junction is very popular, and Pennsylvania 6, 5000, and Moonlight Serenade, just to name a few of the bigger ones on that one, even though every single song on there was very popular. This is one that I have on every format except for 8-track now of what I collect. This is Gordon Lightfoot's Quartz Gold. There isn't really much I could say about this. It's his hits. Got the CD in a collection years ago that I had got the vinyl record from a VCLT Jeff Kempin sent me, and now I have this from this collection. It's a fantastic collection. Love Gordon Lightfoot. Fantastic stuff. This is one that threw me off in this whole collection as a whole. Pardon that little interruption. My phone memory was full, so I had to delete some things. But here we are back. So as I was saying, this album threw me off. It's Jive Bunny and the Master Mixers, the album. If you're familiar with the Lewis Clark Orchestra and the Hooked on Classics series, it's very similar to that, except I think those are better than this Jive Bunny. They're doing stuff like Glenn Miller medleys, they're doing love songs, they're doing rock and roll stuff to disco and dancing beats. It's not bad, but it's not really something I think I'm going to really return to. But it's cool to have, and maybe if I have people over and have it like a dance party kind of thing, maybe I'll put it on. But I won't be returning to this one very much. We got another country single. This is Somebody Slap Me by John Anderson. What's the B-side on this one? The B-side is We've Got a Good Thing Going. It was a good one. I don't really know. I don't know John Anderson really well. I know his album John Anderson 2. My grandfather had that album on vinyl record. Had the song Chicken Truck on it. That's really the song that stood out to me when I heard that album. I've only listened to that album once. But yeah, I'm liking John Anderson. Good stuff. The next we have Journey's Escape. Nothing I can't say about this that's already been said, so everybody knows that album. This one was very fun, because I have almost every single, album by this individual, except for his 90s works. Kenny Chesney's album, Me and You, featuring an extremely young Kenny Chesney. This had the hits, When I Close My Eyes, Turn from the Worst, and Me and You. I believe those were what the big hits off this album were. Fantastic stuff. Kenny Chesney is fantastic if you don't know his works. I'm not sure if I would say this would be the starting album. I would have to say probably an album like The Road and the Radio, or When the Sun Comes Down, or the album No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problem would be a good starting point if you're interested in discovering Kenny Chesney. But if you want to check out this one too, this one's great too. I like all Kenny Chesney. I just don't think it's a starting point album. This is another country artist, older country, Lacey J. Dalton. This is her greatest hits. I have one of her albums on vinyl record. Can't remember which one. I've listened to it once, liked it, but I didn't listen to it again since. But after playing this, I want to pull it out again. Yeah, Lacey J. Dalton, classic country. Oh, speaking of Lewis Clark and the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, Hooked on the Classics. Yeah, I have this album on CD, cassette, and vinyl record now. And digitally. But I guess that's given from the fact that I have it on CD, I would put it on my iTunes. Yeah. This has like classical music. Yeah, mainly classical music to a disco beat. You know, you'd think it's cheesy, but it's actually kind of good. It's not something I want to hear all the time, but I really do truly enjoy that. Leonard Skinner. It's pronounced Leonard Skinner. Everybody knows this album. Don't really have to really talk about it. It's their debut album. The only thing that drives me nuts about this album is the fact that if you look at the track listing, I don't know how clear that's going to come out to you, but side 1 has Freebird Part 1, and side 2 has Freebird Part 2. They split it up in half, which is fine. I mean, for the American Pie 45, they have half the song on one side, half the side on the other, since it's a long song. I get it. But I don't like it. A lot of albums, like from this time, like Boston's self-titled album on cassette, they rearranged the track orders so they wouldn't have to cut songs in half and this, that, and the other thing. They didn't do that with this album, which, if they want to stay true to the track order on a CD, well, not CD at the time, but vinyl record, that's fine. If they did that with this, though, I can only imagine what the 8-track's like on this one. But, anyway. But, you know, this one I'm holding on to for now, but this one I might end up VCLTing or giving away. Because, I have an MCA double featured cassette that has the entire album of this on the A side, and then on the B side is the entire album of their album Second Helping. So, I don't know. But I, like that album nonetheless. Now, if I had to choose a least favorite album from this collection of cassettes I got, this is probably it. Not that it's a bad album, it's just, I need to give it another chance. It didn't connect with me right away. This is Mary Chapin Carpenter, and this is her album Stones in the Road. When the individual who was giving me this collection was showing me this, she's like, do you know this individual? And I was like, I don't. And she's like, oh, you'll like it. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but as I said, I should give it another shot before I fairly judge it. This is a 1994 album. I believe this is her second album. If I'm not mistaken, it was like country-singer-songwriter. So, I gotta give it another shot, but that's my least favorite from this collection. Next, we got Meatloaf's Dead Ringer. I was very happy to have this because this is an album I've been wanting for a while in any format. I don't know what the hit was on this album. I know there was 1 or 2 hits off this, but, you know, a lot of people go to Meatloaf's Bad Outta Hell albums. And don't get me wrong, those are fantastic albums. I enjoy them. Monsters Loose and Bad Outta Hell 3, but the first 2 are killer. What impressed me most is I don't know when this album came out compared to the... Okay, this one's 1981. Okay, so the original Bad Outta Hell was 77. What I really like about this one is it's just as theatrical and just as fantastic. If you like Meatloaf, this is fantastic just as much. And if you only know Bad Outta Hell, Dead Ringer is a fantastic place to go next. And of course, as I just mentioned, Meatloaf Bad Outta Hell 2. Here is Bad Outta Hell 2. And, you know, every song on this is freaking killer. Just like the first album. First Bad Outta Hell. I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. Life is a Lemon and I Want My Money Back. Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through. Out of the Frying Pan and Into the Fire. Objects in a Rearview Mirror Pair Closer Than They Are. Wasted Youth. Everything Louder Than Everything Else, which was the very first Meatloaf song I ever fell in love with. Good Girls Go to Heaven and Bad Girls Go Everywhere. Just some of the highlights, which, for reference, that's almost the entire album I just listed off. And then we mellow it out a little bit to Neil Diamond. This is his 12th greatest hits. This is one of his early greatest hits albums. I liked it. It's not bad. I knew all the songs. There was a time where I owned almost every single Neil Diamond studio album on vinyl record. Then I sold them off because, or most of them, not all of them, because I just wasn't listening to them as much as I want someone else to give them the love and life that those albums deserved. Next, we got Prince's 1999. I have this on vinyl record. My mom owned this on vinyl record. It was, as you could read here, if you could read that, you might not be able to read it, but it's a 2 LP set on 1 cassette. You know, I love the song Little Red Corvette, one of my favorite Prince songs. And the other hit on this was Delirious, if I'm not mistaken. At least those were the 2 songs that I really knew. Prince isn't my favorite, but I really did enjoy this. It's not one I'm going to return to regularly, but it's one I will return to. If I have to choose a Prince album, I do tend to go to Purple Rain. But that's a good album. Of the 3 studio Prince albums I've heard, that's my second favorite one. So we got another country one. This is Ronnie Milsap, and this is a Lost in the 50s Tonight. It's not a 50s cover album, as you might assume. It is original tunes, and it's actually really fantastic. Some of it gives you that 50s vibe, I must say. If you like that kind of vibe and you like country music, maybe you want to check this out. This album came out in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, 1986, yes. Actually, this was another one that my grandfather had on a vinyl record. This was actually one of the first records I ever got from my grandfather's collection in the piles that I got. So it was kind of cool to hear it again, because I've only listened to this album twice. The one time I got it from my grandfather's vinyl record collection, and when I got it in his cassette collection. Let's see, the next one. This is a jazz one on the label GRP, and this is the Rippingtons, A Weekend in Monaco. Yeah, cool jazz, contemporary, smoother, of what you expect from late 80s and 90s jazz. Not bad. Not my favorite type of jazz, but it's not bad. This one, I'm more excited for this album than I'm proud to admit to say, but I really truly am. The Spice Girls album Spice. Albums like this, if I find things from Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or I don't know, Britney Spears, music of the late 90s that were like popular albums from when I was really young, from songs that I remember hearing on the radio when I was like a couple of years old, like Wannabe, Hit Me Baby One More Time, Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, Bye Bye Bye, Pop, Semi-Charmed Life, Third Eye Blind, Sugar Ray, anything Sugar Ray, like Fly or something like that. That's kind of stuff I have a really soft spot for, and I would really love to find them on cassette. But yeah, Spice Girls, Spice. I like it. Shoot me. Or sue me. Don't shoot me. Actually, don't do either. This is an album that I have on all formats except for 8-track now. This is Spyro Gyra, Morning Dance. I believe this was their debut album, if I'm not mistaken. Fantastic contemporary jazz with a little bit of jazz fusion vibe in there, hidden here and there. Very good album. I really enjoyed that one. This was another one, just like that Genesis and 42nd Street albums that I was really excited to hear. This was another one. This is the Statler Brothers. This is Greatest Hits Volume 1. It doesn't say Volume 1, but there is a Volume 2, which I will get to. Statler Brothers is country that is fantastic. I mean, Bed of Roses was a fantastic hit. Flowers on the Wall, which is one of my favorites. Do you remember These was a fantastic track, or is a fantastic track. She Tried. This is a fantastic album. There's not a lot of greatest hits albums I want to get on like vinyl record or something like that, but this is one of them that I would love to have on vinyl record, and I would also really love to have this on CD. This was just a freaking killer. And I just mentioned there was a Greatest Hits Volume 2. Well, here's Greatest Hits Volume 2. It's called Rides Again Volume 2, Greatest Hits, but yeah. This one I didn't know a lot of these songs as well. I knew the Statler Brothers from Volume 1 from some of my grandfather's record collection, but I really enjoyed this one just as much. I can't wait to spin both of those again. Another classic album, Belladonna by Stevie Nicks. I have 2 copies of this on vinyl record, none on CD. I need one on CD, and then I'll have it on all the main formats. Obviously, this has the hit Edge of 17, as we all know, but of course, it's Stevie Nicks. It's pretty much a flawless album. And then we got a comp of Christmas in the Country. So it's a country Christmas album. Yeah, I listened to this in freaking April, March. But I wanted to stash it away, so I did give it a listen. Then we got another GRP comp. This is called Happy Anniversary Charlie Brown. It's a bunch of jazz artists doing their own renditions of some of the classic Vince Guaraldi Charlie Brown tunes. Rachel the Music Man, I know how much you love Charlie Brown. Maybe this is something you want to get into your collection. But maybe on CD or vinyl record. What year did this come out? 1989. It is possible that you could get it on vinyl record, I would assume. Probably very difficult, though. So maybe CD. But yeah, they have some very cool jazzy arrangements of this. And of course, we all know that this is jazzy as it is, since it's Vince Guaraldi. But yes. And then this is Willie Nelson's Stardust, which is one of my top 3 Willie Nelson albums of all time. It's his jazzy album. This has, obviously, Stardust, Georgia on My Mind, Unchained Melody, Blue Skies, which is really good. On a Sunny Side of the Street is great. Yeah, this is just a fantastic album. I'd love to have this on CD. I just need it on CD now, and I have it on all 3 major formats. 8-track. I'm not going out of my way to find every album on 8-track, but anyway, let's cut here, and I'll bring you to the cassettes that are either duplicates or ones that I have to get rid of because they don't really play. I mean, I'll see you in 1 second. Hello, Vinyl Peeps. I am back. So, these are the remaining albums. So, 2 of them are doubles. One of them is one that I just want to give away to a friend that they already know they're getting. And then the other ones are ones that just don't work. So, I'll start off with the ones that don't work. So the first one is Bruce Springsteen's The River. Have this on vinyl record, so I'm disappointed because this is probably one of my favorite Bruce Springsteen albums. However, I have it digitally, and I have the vinyl record. But I'll keep the case, so I have a replacement case in case the cassette box breaks. But the Oak Ridge Boys Christmas. There was 2 copies of this in the collection. One of them, the felt pad was broken off, so I have to re-glue it in place and test that tape. But this one had it intact, and this one does not work. And the last one that doesn't work, which this one I was a little bit disappointed in, I was kind of hoping this one would work, was another Country Christmas compilation called A Country Christmas, which had a compilation of country albums. I believe Beth has this one at B-Side Records on a vinyl record, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I was hoping that one would work. This is one that my friend is going to be getting. This is Glenn Miller at the Cafe Rouge. Nothing wrong with it. Just didn't love it. Didn't love the recording. I've heard better live recordings of Glenn Miller, in my opinion. So, and he likes that stuff, so I'm glad to give it to him. And then this one is Meatloaf's Bad Outta Hell. You didn't think that this person would have Bad Outta Hell too, but not the first one, right? Well, they did. It's just I already had it on cassette, so this is a double. This one I've listened to. It plays great. I'm going to be VCLTing this one to someone eventually, most likely. What can we say about this album? It's fantastic. And then this is the last cassette I actually have to listen to from the collection. But this one I also already have on cassette, so I'll VCLT this one to someone one day. Had this on vinyl record, got rid of it, didn't really listen to it much. It's not one that I listen to much, so I have it on cassette, so I have it on some format. But this is Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl. This is a standard edition. The edition I own is a CRC Club edition. So yeah, I'm going to listen to this one. As long as this one plays, I will VC, and is nothing wrong with it, I'll send this as a VCLT to someone too. So, not sure who, but I have some people in mind. So, anyway, that's the cassettes I've recently gotten. I have to splice some things together because my phone glitched out, and also my phone lost some memory, so I needed to clear out some things. So, we'll stitch these together. Thank you guys for watching. Keep on spinning that wax. If you have a cassette deck, spin some cassettes. Why not? I brought up 42nd Street and Genesis's Invisible Touch. I have to spin these again very soon, if not tonight. And I'm actually able to listen to music tonight because the past couple days my allergies have been really weird. I've been having these allergy headaches that I've really never gotten before. I don't know if my body is just changing and it's something I'm going to get now every year from allergies, but it was really bad a couple days ago. I had to cancel something with some other fellow VC members, but that's rescheduled. We will be doing that in another time, and that will be a video that you guys will be able to see, so don't you guys worry. As of this moment, I am doing better. My head is not killing me at the moment. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next vinyl record video.